Hi YouTube, how's it going? So excited to record another episode. Let's get started. Okay. Hello everybody. So in this week's episode, I want to talk about how I found out that I was pregnant and what was going on in my life at that time. So for those of you who do not know, I am a mother. And I am a mother to my 4-year-old daughter. Her name is Luciana Joan Mellon, and she is the sweetest little angel ever. And she was actually born on my 21st birthday. So we share a birthday. And I want to do this little story time because I know the value of sharing our stories, because it's through our stories that we can really connect. We can, like, lights go off and we're like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that, or I can resonate with that, or I've experienced something similar. And our stories are what make us human. So I feel inspired and called to share about my story when my whole entire life changed and I found out that I was pregnant. So a little backstory is that I was dating this man who is an incredible human being. He is Luciana's father. And we started dating our junior year of high school. And then we went to college together. And back then, I wouldn't have admitted to you that I chose the college that I went to because he was going to it. I mean, I definitely heavily tried to influence him to go to the school that I was going to. And we did that for about a year. And then he really didn't like it, and I didn't really like it either. And so we had thought about transferring, and we both ended up transferring to Central Michigan University. And I'm so grateful that we did because we both loved it there. And it was fantastic for us. However, like, I wouldn't have admitted at that time that, like, I was following and influencing our decisions. I was very much like stuck on this, we are one and we need to be together, because if we're not, then fuck, I'm gonna lose you, and I can't lose you because I don't know what that would mean for me and us, then we would cease to exist. And I was definitely in a codependent relationship with him and lifestyle. And I was very, if you're familiar with the attachment styles, I was very anxious and he was a bit more avoidant, and it created this dynamic that wasn't always the healthiest, but we were just so young and we were learning. And I have so much love and grace and compassion for all of it. Um, However, yeah, I didn't make the most sound decisions, I guess you could say, but it was all perfect for me to lead me where I am now. And our relationship was not perfect by any means, as much as I tried to make it look as it was, especially because my family loved him so much and I loved his family so much. Specifically, my mother, like, definitely believed that we were going to be together forever. And so I believed that we were going to be together forever. Of course, high school sweethearts, that's the cutest thing ever. And his parents were high school sweethearts and they made it work. And so, we can make it work, whatever. Um, and we had some ups and downs throughout our relationship. And like around the 3-year mark, I think we decided to break up after some betrayal and some fighting. And I oftentimes, every time we broke up, it was me doing the breaking up, and my story was like definitely a victim story. I was like, this man doesn't even want to be with me, and he's not treating me the way I deserve to be treated, and he's not like fully truthful with me or honest and all these things. And so, fine, he won't break up with me, I guess I'll just break up with him. Or like, this happened, he should feel so sorry about it. I'm gonna break up with him because I have to, and then he's gonna crawl back to me and it's gonna be fantastic. And then he wouldn't crawl back to me, and then I was super sad. And then I was like, well, let's be in a relationship again, anyways. Not honoring myself, right? Or him. But he also didn't honor me by like continuing to stay in a relationship that he didn't want to be in because he didn't want to hurt me, which only hurt both of us even more in the long run. So always share what's on your heart and be open and be vulnerable. Invite people in. Don't be afraid to hurt somebody or let them down. If you don't want to be with them, do not be with them. So anyways, we had some ups and downs, took a few breaks, and then decided to be with each other again. And it was my junior year of college, and I had just moved into an apartment off of campus. I mean, it was basically on campus, but we were finally out of the dorms. And I had just gotten my sister's old ID, and I was so excited to be able to go to the bars as if, I was 21 and free. And I pretty much, my main focus was on drinking and partying and having a good time and meeting people and getting good grades. And that was it. That was like my responsibility. And I was really having a great time and was looking forward to the year ahead. And there was something disrupting me and my system. And it was the fact that I knew I was in a relationship with a man who didn't want to be with me. And that made me feel really shitty. I would try to do whatever I could do to fix it, but there was no fixing it. And he didn't want to fix it either. And so I just kept holding on, and I was like pissed. I was like, why aren't you breaking up with me? Has anybody else ever been there? And so anyways, I finally was like, okay, if this is how it's gonna be, I guess I'm just gonna have to break up with him, even though I don't want to. That was the story, right? Victim story. So I broke up with him, and it was that same week or later in the week that I found out that I was pregnant. So what happened was we broke up, and that weekend I knew I was going to the SNACA conference. I was the vice president of program board, which is a registered student organization at Central that like actually gets funding from the school to put on free events for the students, minus the concert. That was like one of the only ones that you had to pay for. But I was very proud of that role and excited about that role. Or excuse me, my timeline's getting mixed up. This was when I was still just a member, and I had a vision and I wanted to be the vice president, and I knew that I wanted to. So I signed up for this conference. And the next year I did end up being vice president, and I got the role, and I was grateful. But I went to this conference as a general member, knowing that I wanted to be on the board the next year. Okay, so thank God I go to this conference because it's Halloween weekend. And what everybody on college student like campuses do oftentimes is just get super drunk. So I missed out on Halloween weekend at Central and went to this conference where I was thankfully sober. But I remember being in the van. We were all driving from Michigan to Kentucky, I believe, and one of the girls took off her shoes in the van, and like it really pissed me off. It really triggered me, and I remember my sense of smell. I felt like very heightened. I was like, this doesn't really smell good, and why would somebody take off their shoes? Like any little thing was I was extra sensitive to. So that was a little bit like I was starting to notice, okay, what's going on here? And then I remember feeling exhausted all weekend long. I was so tired. I felt so fatigued. And I remember like saying something to someone there. I was like, I feel like really tired for some reason. I don't know why. Like I shouldn't be tired, but I feel tired. They're like, maybe you just need to check your iron levels. Like get some more iron in your diet. I was like, okay, yeah. And then I remember later in the weekend, I was like, oh, my breasts kind of hurt. They feel really sensitive. And then that's when somebody was like, what, are you pregnant? And that's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh shit. I actually haven't gotten my period. Yeah, I could be. But I didn't say that to them, of course. I just had these thoughts going on in my head, like, oh my gosh, am I pregnant? And what could that mean? And then you like try to pay attention to it and honor it. And then you also just try to let it go and be where you're at. And so I knew that I was going to go back to Central and take a test, but I was really scared. And so when I finally got back, I was very involved in the church there. I grew up Catholic and I was going to the Newman Center on campus. It was St. Mary's, and it was a beautiful space because there are usually always people there and they're always really loving and welcoming. And so I felt safe there. It was a safe space for me there. And it was somewhere where I felt like I could connect with something greater than me. That's where I was practicing my faith in that way. So I went to church one night. It was like a Friday night. It wasn't even a day that you typically go to mass. But I was like, I'm going to go to mass. I'm going to connect with Jesus and I'm going to pray. And there was a time in the mass where they say their prayers. And then at the end, they're like, okay, whatever else is in your heart, we pray for these things. And they do a moment of silence. And I'm like praying what's on my heart. And I'm like, God, I had bought the pregnancy test. They were in my car. And I was like, God, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take this test. I don't know if I'm pregnant, but I feel like I might be, and I feel scared. So whatever it is, just like, please let it be okay. Please let it be okay. Please let it be okay. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I am now newly single and just your average college girl trying to figure her shit out. I was scared to find out that I was pregnant, and I was scared to find out if I wasn't pregnant. Either way, I was scared because if there was a part of me, there was like confliction inside. There was a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, what if I'm pregnant? Then maybe this means Drew and I are meant to be together and we are meant to have that fairy tale ending and it's going to win him back and we're going to fix all of our problems and it's going to be perfect. That story, and then the other part was fear of being pregnant because like, oh my gosh, if I'm pregnant, then I'm going to be a mom and I'm not ready to be a mother and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And yeah, also growing up Catholic, like I knew that if I was pregnant, I was going to have that baby because there was no other option. Like for me, I mean, just a few years before I had gone to March for Life, I was in this paradigm, in this program of like, you like abortion wasn't an option, even though I knew that it was, but I was like not thinking for myself back then. I was like a completely different person and I just was a people pleaser and wanted to do the right thing, quote unquote. And especially knowing that Drew was Catholic and he would of course have the baby, like there is no question. So yeah, and I mean he's one of 15 kids, if that just tells you anything, which is beautiful. Their family's so beautiful. And also like I'm at a stage in my life now where I'm like, if you find out you're pregnant and you don't want to have a baby, please don't have a baby. You like honor yourself because it's hard. It's really hard. And I don't want to go on a whole rant about like me or myself or my decisions, but I struggled with being a mom for a really long time and I still struggle with it. And I'm grateful for my faith because I know everything happens for a reason, but there have been many times where people ask, so like, why did you go through with it? And I don't always have an answer. I'm like, well, it's just because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And thank God Lucy's here. She's incredible. She was meant to be here. And also, like, things could have potentially been a lot different if I had the awareness and confidence like I have now. And that's okay. That is okay. So I go home and I'm by myself and I took the pregnancy test and it said that I was pregnant. And so then I, of course, took another one immediately, just, in case it was a fluke. And yeah, I was pregnant. And I honestly, I can't even tell you what my reaction was or my feelings were because I don't remember. I don't remember. I think I escaped my body. Like I don't know. I couldn't feel. I was so on it, like not in tune with myself and my real feelings. And so yeah, I was afraid and I think in shock. And I knew that I was gonna have to go talk to Drew and tell him this person that I just recently broken up with, and who he was probably relieved that we were finally done. And me coming in sharing this news. So I share the news, and Drew's incredible. And he's like, it's going to be okay. And he's just like, I'm crying. And he's just like trying to comfort me and love me, even though he's probably just in shock too. And we go and we buy 2 more tests. And yeah, I was pregnant. So I spent my entire junior year of college growing a baby. And her due date was June 15th. So by the end of exams in May, like I was like close to 9 months pregnant. I was big. I was that pregnant person on campus, and I'm grateful for it. I had still a really great, incredible time. But yeah, it was really challenging being on a college campus where everybody, like going from a lifestyle of drinking and smoking all of the time to just cutting that off cold turkey and vaping, like, and being at football games or events, and like especially when nobody knew that I was pregnant, and like Drew had just joined a fraternity and I was just starting to meet all of his friends. And like it was weird because people knew, like not everybody knew, not many people knew that we broke up, but some people knew. And then there was just like a lot of confusion, like what's going on, like you're together, you're not together. Oh, why are you all of a sudden not drinking or participating? Like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? And I felt like I was just like hanging around Drew, and it looked like that lost girl that didn't know what the fuck she was doing. And that's because that's how I felt. It was a really challenging time, really confusing time. I didn't know what was right or wrong, or what I should do or not do, or what I should say or not say. And I remember wanting to keep it a secret for a while because I was so afraid of what other people might think, and especially if anybody found out that Drew and I had just broken up. What would they think? So thank God my parents didn't know. They thought that Drew and I were perfect and happy, but Drew had told his parents. Um, and looking back, I wish that I told my family. I wish that I told them where we were at, because I spent so much time trying to paint this perfect picture of a life that I didn't even want and make it seem like I was really happy and everything was okay when things weren't. But that time in my life, that season really molded me and shaped me into who I am today. I'm so proud of Drew and I because like we had the baby and we stayed together for another year. We tried to make it work, and then, same thing, same pattern. I was not feeling like I was being treated like I want to be treated. So I was like, fine, I'm gonna break up with him. I thought he was gonna propose. He never did. Thank you, Drew, for not doing that. But I'm gonna break up with him. And so I had to make that decision, and I did. And it did not make my parents happy. It didn't make um a lot of people happy, but thankfully, Drew's family was pretty supportive and people ended up being supportive. But it was a really scary thing to do because from my family's perspective, they were like, of course you're gonna get engaged and then you're gonna get married and it's gonna be perfect. And they didn't know there was so many issues with Drew and I's relationship. They knew some things, but like my mom always tried to make it seem like there's a way to fix it or make it better. That's just how relationships are. And that was something that I had to um move through and realize. I was like, no, actually, I think I remember feeling um like just like in this period of waiting when Drew's gonna propose, when's he gonna propose, when's he gonna propose? And I had gone through watching like three other Schwants get married and like I was like, when is it gonna be my turn? I've been here the longest and I have a child and it still hasn't happened. All of these stories playing in my head, so much shame, so much victimhood, so much guilt. Um, and wow, what a learning opportunity. But I just remember feeling like, no way is the rest of my life supposed to be like this. Like, there's no way. I don't know what else is out there for me, but I know there's something better than this. And so we broke up and decided to co-parent. And we'd done some therapy, trying to see if we wanted to maybe like be together or if we wanted to co-parent. And I knew that I wanted to end up co-parenting. And I think he was kind of back and forth too. And through that therapy, we decided to co-parent. And it was like an exciting time because I was starting to meet new people. He was starting to meet new people. Like we had finally opened ourselves to new lovers. And I met somebody pretty immediately and like fell really hard and it changed my life. And he had met somebody too. And so like this journey, this season of our life was really complicated because my mom was so wanting us to be together. And so when this other guy took an interest in me and things started shifting and I was standing up for myself more and more, I was learning more and more. I was learning about how you create your own reality. I was reconnecting with God because I had gotten to a point where I didn't know if I believed in anything anymore. And it it broke me open. And I no longer was a match to what I'd been saying yes to how I had been treated before in the past. I was finally questioning things and like speaking up for myself and discovering who I really am and doing what I wanted to do. But my mom so was not okay and scared. She was just scared. She was afraid of the idea of Drew and I not being together and Lucy not having a traditional upbringing and family in one home through her own wounding, right? Which gets passed down, my own wounding. And of course, I had those thoughts and feelings too, but I still had to rise and like do what I believed was best for myself, which is in turn for everybody involved, right? And so I tried to explore this new love interest, and my mom literally did whatever she could to sabotage it and manipulate it. And this experience left me feeling like so enslaved, so like I'm not allowed to love who I want to love, so sad and confused and heartbroken. So this is where I feel like my dark night of the soul was happening. And through that experience, I feel like that's part of the reason why I value freedom so much. It's part of the reason why I value love so much. I'm like, love who you want to love, follow your heart, be free. Like you only have one life. So live it how you want to and don't let anybody else tell you how to live your life. Instead, do what really fuels you and gets you excited and be the example and the invitation for others to do that too. So I just wanted to share this little history about myself and my life. I'm gonna let you in a little bit more. And if you have any questions about it, please reach out. I'm happy to answer questions. And yes, we both graduated in college, and we last year ended up moving from out of Michigan to Colorado, and we're both here and we're co-parenting, and he lives like 15 minutes away from me, and we share time with Lucy 50-50, and we have such a beautiful relationship now where we're actually really good friends, and his family still has my family and vice versa. And he's actually coming over pretty soon with Lucy, and we're going to grill out and we're going to make dinner. And so yeah, even though we're co-parenting and we have separate lives, they're forever going to be intertwined because we are family. We are Team Lucy. We are Lucy's mother and father. And so our family might look different, but it's still perfect. It's this beautiful blended family. And I've dated since then, and Drew's now dating, and it's so exciting and it's beautiful, and we're learning. Nobody really knows what they're doing until you just have to do it and you figure it out as you go. And so I've learned so much through being a young mom, through co-parenting, through dating again, um, and through going on a crazy spiritual journey and like discovering myself. And I'm really, really grateful. I'm really, really grateful. So if any of this speaks to you or resonates with you, um, please reach out and let me know. If you're a young mom or you're a single mother or father or a parent at all in general, like, thank you. I honor you. I love you. I know it's not easy. Like, shout out to Drew. He's an incredible father. He's an incredible co-parent. He's an incredible friend. And that's because him and I have chosen to do that work together. It doesn't just happen. And we were resistant before, and like of course there was hurt, and so it wasn't easy, but over time, it takes time, over time things have gotten better and better. And as I've shifted, like my reality has shifted. So as I have come to know and love myself deeper, I experience that more and more in my external reality. So yeah, it was so challenging like 3 years ago. I didn't know if I was going to make it out alive, and it's just gotten easier and easier. And I don't even want to say easier because life is still really challenging, and sometimes I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I feel more equipped because it's like anything in life. We've been through something before, we know we can get through it again. Like, you've been through heartbreak before, you can do it again. Right? And it's allowing these feelings and not resisting them. Whatever we resist persists. And this is something that I'm learning over and over and over again. So sometimes just speaking what's on your heart alone is enough without having to do any action, just speaking and being vulnerable. Speaking this and sharing this story with you is beautiful. It's therapeutic for me. I get to love and have compassion and honor for myself for where I've come from, where I've been. Sometimes I don't acknowledge the shit that I've been through. We can all do a little bit more of that. You're all incredible human beings. We've all been through a lot, and there's no need to compare or be like, I can't feel this way because somebody else has it worse. No, you are allowed to feel exactly as you do. You're allowed to feel exactly as you do. Bringing in more compassion. We can take our time with this. Thank you for listening to a clip bit of my story. I love you so much. Bye. Oh, thank you. Thank you, YouTube. Love you. Reach out to your parent friends for real. It's not easy. It's hard, and we need to be there for each other. All right, much love.